Hello and welcome to my presentation today on UAS and LiDAR in Agriculture and Forestry Applications. I am Chad McCoy, and before we get started, I wanted to point out all citations are located on each page of the presentation as we go through it. And then finally, there is a complete sources cited page at the end of the presentation as well. So today we're going to discuss an introduction, properties of LiDAR, getting into the applications of using UAS and LiDAR technology in agriculture, forestry, and in the environment, and then some data analysis techniques and wrap up with a conclusion. So when I started the research on this industry of using UAS and LiDAR technology in forestry and agriculture, I found that this industry has been existing for over the past few years, and that it is an expanding industry. And specifically in the agriculture sector, I found an interesting statistic that $5 billion by 2025, this sector will have grown. And this is specifically using drones in agriculture. What is LiDAR? We're going to learn that and then get into the applications in forestry, agriculture, and the environment, and then get into some LiDAR data analysis techniques. So the properties of LiDAR. Light detection and ranging is what LiDAR stands for. And it is an active remote sensing technology. When I looked at the research on this and tried how to explain it, it really came down to some base components of LiDAR. So there are the laser, there is the scanner, the receiver, the global positioning system, and the inertial measurement unit that makes up the LiDAR system. This visual here kind of gives you a basic overview, showing the UAS, showing the laser on the LiDAR camera, pointing down and doing the pulses. And then there's the GPS ground unit and then GPS satellite. So a quick overview of that. So what happens is the laser sends pulses of light. The scanner directs the pulses in a variety of directions. The receiver then captures the light that has been reflected from the pulses. The GPS is able to give the precise location of the LiDAR sensor, and the IMU takes the measurement of the sensor's location and the movement across the area that has been scanned. All of this works together to create and process the LiDAR data received, which then allows for the creation of those fantastic models that we see, those 3D models of the terrain that we hopefully all have seen before. So when we look specifically into agriculture applications using UAS and LiDAR technology, we find that precision agriculture is one of the big ones that farmers tend to be using today. And that allows for a better understanding of the topography of their fields, the soil conditions, and to identify areas that could need attention. More specifically, you can monitor crop health that can be used to identify certain areas of a field that could be under stress. Then you can get into specific, more irrigation management. In certain areas, water conservation is very important. And knowing how your field is taking water. Is certain areas more prone to need more water than others? Soil analysis is also very important for farmers to use because it will determine what plant should go in what soil. And farmers being able to know that will be able to have higher yields on their crops. And finally, pest and disease detection, very important in farming. If you can find those areas and eradicate them quickly before it could really impact the crop. A couple of examples I found using UAS in agriculture. There on the left, the DJI Phantom 4, and on the right, DJI Matrix 600. Looking in forestry applications, we find that a lot of this has to do with this management and inventory of a forest, kind of the basics of that. But then you can really get into some detailed areas such as carbon and biomass estimates, getting into growth and yield prediction of forests, monitoring the health of a forest and seeing how things change. That's one of the things I found with LiDAR data. You can see over time how things have changed based on different times of when the data was received. Determining wildlife locations, also a way to find where the wildlife is in a forest. And then finally, fire risks, being able to pinpoint those areas of risk is very important in today's world. We see a lot of wildfires, not only here in the Western United States, but across the world. And being able to pinpoint that and hopefully be able to find ways to prevent those forest fires from even happening. A couple of examples of drones used in forestry applications. There again, the DJI Matrix 600, and the one there on below that is the Quantum Systems VTOL Trinity. This one I thought was really interesting because it has in the nose of the aircraft the built-in LiDAR technology is right there. So environmental applications, we found this can do a lot to do with conservation efforts. And one of those areas is coastal and wetland areas. These areas can be hard to access. So being able to get a drone up and fly those areas is very important. This picture, this really cool LiDAR data picture here on the left, is of a coastal area showing erosion data over time, how the coast is actually changing. Distribution of plant and animal species, another application that's very useful in determining trends for at-risk species. And then finally, environmental disturbances, being able to monitor areas that have been impacted by storms, fires, other disturbances, both natural and man-made, is very important for restoration of those areas. And finally, into data analysis techniques. This is an area that is pretty complex. There's a lot of software that has been created to help in this area, but I found in the research just kind of a simple way to look at it is the data creation can be into 3 steps: a pre-processing, a visualization, and a post-processing step. The pre-processing is really just getting the data, specifying the ground points, eliminating the outliers and any errors that might sit within the data set. Then into the visualization area, this is going to determine the quality of the data and then provide any additional insights that may lead to additional analysis. And then finally, the post-processing piece, which is really just creating the final product, and which can include a variety of things based on what you want your data to provide. It can be those really cool contour map models, elevation, canopy height, a variety of information there. And then there are analysis using spatial and statistical methods, and that can help uncover relationships and data patterns. And that is going to help with the further a better decision making in the analysis of the data. And the analysis types can adjust based on the application. So I found that you can have regression, you can have clustering and machine learning as all additional methods of analysis. So in conclusion, the UAS and LiDAR remote sensing technology is an important piece in our world today. We have seen from helping farmers from create modern farming practices to help them have better yields, better control, and better health of their crops. Forestry, we found LiDAR and UAS are changing how we can monitor the health of our forests and then help create conservation methods based on that precision of data. The environment we live in is fragile, and LiDAR can help identify areas of risk throughout the environment. And that's just going to lead, again, to better conservation and sustainability efforts. Data analysis techniques and software will continue to evolve, as well as advances in UAS technology. Then we didn't even bring up the point of AI. I'm sure AI is going to be another piece that's really going to impact this area. This will only help to provide more precise data that can be developed, and that's just going to create better UAS missions. The world we live in is definitely going to be a better place thanks to the combination of LiDAR technology and UAS. Thank you. And again, the sources cited page is right here, and I appreciate your time.